Sound. Hey, IG family. Hey, Facebook family. This is Dr. Argie here. We are having the Courageous Conversations Connect space. And we're having I keep saying Corona. We're having quarantine talks, right? Because we're all quarantined. And I didn't realize that it's been, let me look at my calendar, almost 14 days since Morgan and I have been kind of pseudo quarantine. So you guys tell me, how many days has it been for you? It is now, hey Nicole, Nicole's on. Nicole, let me know if you can hear me clearly. Today is the 26th, and we actually shut it down on Friday the 13th. Yeah, Friday, it was Friday the 13th. Our last meeting in the office was on the 12th, and Friday the 13th, we shut it down. We made a decision that we weren't going anywhere else. However, I guess that's not quite true, because we ended up doing, on the 13th, we did the Today Show, and then that weekend, not the weekend, that Sunday, we went to New York, and on the 16th, we did the Today Show again. And so we were at a distance from people, but we were engaged with people. Nicole says she can hear me. Awesome. So I guess it would be more like the 16th after we got back. So we'll say the 17th. So this is now the 26th. So it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 days. 10 days for us. And then Morgan was in the hospital though, supporting our bonus daughter with the birth of our grandson, and he was born on the 18th, Mark? Was it the 18th? Yeah, the 18th. So we've been doing our best to be quarantined. I've been pretty much in the house for the 10 days. We did go out to the grocery store. We did try to get our essentials. We went to places to get our essentials like our Lysol and our wipes and our masks and for the family, and we went around trying to drop those off to people that we thought needed them. Okay, both are super good. Okay, great. So everybody says that they can hear me very good. So we're just sort of talking about how many days. Tell me, guys, how many days have you been quarantined? I feel like Nicole. Yeah, okay. No, I feel like Nicole, you've been quarantined. You and JoJo and my nephew Ty for probably the longest time, because your school shut down and Montgomery County shut down. So you guys have been in the house, I think, going on 2.5 weeks or so. And then JoJo was a little sick, and you had to go to the doctor, but she's doing better now, so that's good. Good. So now that more people are on and you guys can hear me, I want you to make sure you share, let people know, text them, DM them, share this post, let them know that we're on IG and on IG, hey IG family, and we're on Facebook Live with the Courageous Conversations Connect space. We're having our quarantine talks every single morning at 10 o'clock. We're having our quarantine talks. Morgan wants me to also remind you guys, which I've been, I think, remiss to tell you, that we're also on YouTube. So if you all, during your downtime, want to see if some of the old segments that I've done on the Today Show or Good Day Philly or Philly Speaks, go to YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel. It's on at Ask Dr. Argie. And Ask Dr. Argie, you guys know it's ASKDRARGIE. So not Dr. Argie DOCTOR. So let me know. Oh, Nicole said 2.5 weeks. So let me know how you are doing. These talks really came out of this idea of what could I do to connect us while we're on quarantine. There is this social media platform that we all have that allows us to see each other and connect with each other in a way that we wouldn't have had maybe even 10 years ago if this had happened. So we might as well use this to our advantage. Rashana said 10 days, caregiver for my sick mom and 100-year-old grandmother. Oh my goodness, God bless you. So let's all pray for Rashana's, if I'm saying that right, Rashana's mom and grandmom, and for her. Shout out to all the caregivers, to all the first line people, the medical professionals, the mental health professionals, the firefighters, the police officers, the grocery store clerks, the pharmacists, shout out to all of those people that are putting themselves on in jeopardy, quite frankly, and they're on the front lines of this invisible enemy, right? We're at war, whether you all realize it or not. And sometimes you have to use a different kind of strategy, a different kind of tactical technique, tactical strategy to deal with things if we're in a position of being in war. Okay, so now that people are on, hey, IG family, we're going to start off. As we said, we're going to kind of get into our routine. So please, we're going to get into your posture. Uh, Relaxed, your hands this way or this way, or just relaxed and at the side. We're going to start with our breathing exercises. We feel like breathing is essential. Why? Because so many people are struggling to breathe right now. The people that get this virus are struggling to breathe, and we're going to be prayerful for those who are impacted and affected by this virus, those who have it, those who don't know that they have it, those who have symptoms, those who are in the hospitals, those loved ones who have lost loved ones due to this virus and can't even be with them by their bedside or give them a proper burial. There are people that are having difficulty breathing right now as we speak. So we're going to breathe for ourselves and we're going to breathe for them. So at the sign of my voice, when I count to 3, everybody in the same position, right? We're going to begin to breathe as we begin this process. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Feel your breath in your body, and then let it out through your mouth. And feel the breath come out of your body and your tummy expand. Breathe in through your nose, big breath. Hold it and let it out. And feel your tummy expand. Breathe in through your nose, hold it, and out. You feel that air coming out of your body. Doesn't that feel good? 2 more times. Breathe in through the nose, hold it, let it come in and go through your body and your organs and your brain. Oxygen in and out. Last time. Breathe in, big breath. Feel that oxygen coming into your brain, into your organs, into your lungs, and out. How'd that feel, guys? That felt good to me. Many of us, y'all see Morgan walking through the mirror. Many of us, that's all right, babe. It's okay. This is live. Many of us don't even realize, guys, that we talk and we have such shallow breathing. And now when they're looking for ventilators and CPAP machines and masks and all this, that those of us that are in the comforts of our own homes, albeit may be difficult to quarantine because we're not accustomed to that, this is an opportunity for us to get back in touch with the things that matter most, an opportunity for us to tap in. I want you all to use that language. Tap in to what matters most. Tap into your breath. Tap into your peace. Tap into love. Tap into serenity. Tap into your relationship with your partner. Tap into your connection with your kids. Tap into your health and well-being. Tap into your mind, body, and spirit because we're all connected. Tap into all of that. As we continue, we're going to do our mantra, and then we're going to get into our conversation, our quarantine conversation. So by this time, those of you who've been on, make sure that you share this. Make sure that you DM, give me some thumbs up, give me some Small hearts, give me some smiley faces. Those are good for the traction. That helps the algorithms. Thank you so much. Yeah, give me some thumbs up. Give me some smiley faces. Give me some, let me know that you're here. Hearts, all that good stuff. Because we're stronger together. We are stronger together. We're connected together. Let me know. Uh, our mantra is the Serenity Prayer this week. We're going to have another mantra, or we're going to have another either type of prayer or meditation next week. So we're going to say this together. For those that you are on, okay, I see some thumbs up. Please give me some thumbs up. Give me some smiley faces. I don't know how many of you guys heard D Nice last night. There's some things there's new things that we'll talk about that's trending. And last night, D Nice and Michelle Obama were on together. Shout out to D Nice and our floatist, Michelle Obama. They were actually on again for what they were calling Couch Party. And people were able to listen to music, register to vote. I think when I listened to it, it was up to 60,000 people that were potential people that needed to register to vote or help people to register to vote. Remember, the down ballot, as Morgan, my husband, always says, that matters most. With this virus, we don't know what's going to happen, so we need to prepare. The issue that we have, and we're going to talk about this next week, the issue that we have is oftentimes people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And we don't prepare very well. And so when we're thinking about even the voting and voting the people that are going to be in position to help us right now get the resources that we need in the areas that are being affected most, like in New York. Governor Cuomo is doing an excellent job, but he needs the help of all of us in order to vote people in that can support us, that can get us the things that we need. So even the early registration is important. Early voting, voting by mail, all of those things help all of us to get our needs met in our communities, which matters most. They moved the PA primary until June. Nicole said they moved the PA primary till June, so that gives us a little bit of time, which is great. Yet we still need to prepare. Like June is right around the corner. This is an unprecedented March. We're getting ready to get to the end of March and April, but who knew March would look like it looks now? So we need to get on top of that and make sure that we do what we need to do. Okay? So let's move into guys, our mantra, which is the Serenity Prayer. I think that this is a wonderful way for us to start a conversation because I think it has a lot of meaning, quite frankly. So it goes like this: God, grant me, and it can be whatever your source is. For me, it's God. Whatever your source is, you can alter that. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's how the prayer goes, right? So we're going to say that 5 times. We're going to breathe in between, and then we're going to get on with our discussion. Let's start at the sound of my voice when I come to 3. 1, 2, 3. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Breathe in and out. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, really, we'll say we, and the wisdom to know the difference. Breathe in and breathe out. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Breathe in and breathe out. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Breathe in and breathe out. And one more time. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay, so that's very hard for most of us. I want you guys to tell me how you're doing. You all told me Nicole's been in quarantine for 2.5 weeks. And Rashana has been in quarantine for 10 days with her mother, sick mother, and her 100-year-old grandmother, your young grandmother. That's a blessing to get to 100 years, and God bless you. We know you don't get to 100 years without somebody helping you. So bless you, Rashana. Tell me a little bit about you guys, what you're struggling with. This quarantine talks is about what we struggle with or what we're struggling with this new scenario that we're in today. And the things that I said the last couple of days was, are we doing our due diligence? Do we have our SSR? Do we have our self-care plan, our safety care plan? Do we have our relational care plan? What do you plan for the weekend? Are you planning on doing some FaceTime with your friends, or doing Zoom, or, checking in with people? Are you planning on setting up something where you're doing a, cocktail hour with your buddies, with your homegirls, or people that you went to college with? Are you creating something new, developing something new? We can create a new paradigm for how we operate. I want to know if you have some questions about how to go about these conversations that you need to be having. Be honest with you, some people are really still struggling. It's interesting. Morgan was talking to me a little bit earlier this morning about how people that he's talking to are still struggling with the Gen Zs and the millennials. I don't want to, give them a complete black eye, if you will, about what they're doing, because there's some who are stepping up. For example, my niece and my nieces Nicole and Morgan, they're stepping up and checking on my father, their pop-up, but staying separated, with the 6 feet distance, and they're quarantining themselves. So some people are doing it, but other people are not. Are you having difficulty convincing the people in your house and in your family to stay in? I heard someone say, and I like the statement, that the goal here is to prevent anyone from spreading this disease to everyone. That's the goal, to prevent anyone, any one of us, young, middle age, old, to prevent all of us from spreading this to everyone. And which means that many of us could be a carrier and not know it, and have no symptoms but be spreading it. They're calling it community. They call it community spread for a reason. So, let me know, guys, on IG. Let other people know that we're on. We're having our quarantine talks. This is the Courageous Conversations Connect space. Let people know that we're on. DM them, text them, share this post, or share this platform with them. Let me know, guys. Give me some. Watch party. Do a watch party, Morgan says. Give me some smiley faces, some thumbs up. Let me know if you're still on. I see that Nicole is still on. I think Rashana is on, and Rich is on. So let me know if this is helpful, and also what you're struggling with, or what other people that you know are struggling with. I want to read an excerpt from right now, Courageous Conversations Connect. I have to go to actually my library at work. Oh, I see some smiley faces. I see some thumbs up. This is a positive space, right? And so we want to create a positive energy to all of us. So even if you're not feeling well, let us know that. If you're not feeling well mentally, if you're feeling a little depressed, if you're feeling a little isolated, let us know. This social distancing doesn't mean social isolation. Hey, Rich is on. Good morning, Rich. Let us know what's happening. Everyone is dealing with something different. So people who live alone, I want to hear from you, because this is an opportunity for us to connect with you and our community, our crew, connecting relationships for epic wins. But I want to know from the people who are living with their family members 24/7 how you are feeling too. We're going to do a little bit of a Q&A too. Ask me some questions. I've been doing this work with families and couples and individuals as a relationship therapist for over 25 years. So I've gained some skills along the way for what works and for what doesn't work. And I thought that this could be a really good platform for people to ask questions about what they're struggling with, or what people that they know are struggling with while we're all in quarantine. Rich says, I'm actually doing well with this time. So that's great. Rich is doing well with this time. You know, I find as I'm talking to clients, because you all know that I'm still doing work online, so I pivot after this talk, and I start seeing clients doing therapy and coaching at 12 o'clock, and I'm actually literally pretty busy up until 9 o'clock in the evening. That's why I wanted to do this segment a little bit earlier. And I find that if you're an introvert, this is what my clients are telling me. If they're sort of an introvert, then this is not a big deal. I was talking to a client the other day, and he is a young man, and he said, I'm pretty much an introvert, so quarantining myself is not a big deal. Quite frankly, he was like, if I, have some difficulty, I can go hang out with my family, but my preference is to kind of connect with my friends. So he's fine. But what about those of you who are extroverts, who really do need the energy from other people? Oh, I'm talking to IG folks too. I forgot. Hey, IG people, I don't want to forget you too. So what about people who are extroverts? What about people who really want to be out and about? How is this impacting you? Uh, are you a little bit snappy with your family members? Let's go on and be honest. Most of us are not accustomed to being in our homes with our family members 24/7. Let me tell you how this typically works. We get up, we go to work when we get dressed. Hopefully you bathe first, right? And you eat your little breakfast or what have you. And then we go out into the world. We go out into the workplaces for somewhere between 8 and 10 hours out of our day. Then we come back. We get home about 7 or 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock at night if you're like me. We maybe eat, we process our day, we go to sleep, and then we wake up and we do it again. And then we have a little bit of time over the weekend to spend some quality time with each other. So never before have many of us experienced being in the home with somebody for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So what does that feel like to you? And tell me if you're struggling with those kinds of things.
Allison has actually a statement. Allison says on IG, I'm happy to be employed, but I miss going to church and interacting with people in person, and I'm an introvert.
So Allison said that she's happy to be employed,
Yes.
but she misses going to church, and she misses going to, this is on IG,
Yes.
and she misses, what did she say more?
She says she misses going to church and interacting with people in person, and I'm an introvert.
Okay, so that's good. Thank you, Allison, for that. Introverts are struggling too, even
Allison
though
from Bethlehem.
Allison from Bethlehem. Introverts, the thing about introverts is most introverts don't want to be alone 24/7. They just like their personal time and their personal space. But they do find ways to engage, ways to fellowship, ways to socialize. And so now we're really stretched with trying to find creative ways to stay connected. I do know, Allison, that there are a lot of churches that are doing online communication. They're doing services and Bible study on Facebook and IG, and they're staying connected. But what we've learned is that we're probably much more used to, influenced by social engagement than anybody else. Let's see what people are asking. Families are bonding with their children. That's what Deborah said, which is awesome. Home workouts are harder for some. Uh, so yeah, so people are not only struggling with not being able to go to church and doing things like that they normally would do, but you all know that the gyms are closed, right? So people are looking to the online platforms to work out, but like my niece Nicole said, it may be harder to get a routine. I think I said the other day that I wanted people to create a schedule. I find this as being really, really helpful for my clients when they're able to create a schedule. Literally alter the schedule that you had when things before we got into this crisis, and then begin to tweak it and put down what your routine is. What I suggest to people is you start with your wake up time and your bedtime, right? So that's kind of your bookend for your day. Then you add in your eating time. When are you going to do breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Then when are you going to do your work time? When are you going to get some work done? Whatever that looks like, either kids that are back in online school, or whether you're working from home, or if you're not working from home, then what are you doing to keep your mind active so that you're not watching TV and watching the news 24/7? I guarantee you the information is going to be, we're on a sort of 24-hour cycle with the information, so much of it doesn't change drastically. So if you choose to watch the news for maybe a bit of time in the morning and a bit of time in the evening, I think that's quite enough, because you can be doing some other things. So create a schedule for yourself, and then have your engagement, your time where you're going to engage on FaceTime. I taught my 85-year-old father, 84-year-old father how to use FaceTime, so that I could see him, he could see me. So you can do that with other people in your community as well. Rich Austin says several of our church groups have set up virtual study groups. I love that. My nursing home ministry is the best. Awesome. And I have to go to my 10:30. Love you, Doc. I love you too. I love you too, Rich. Um, he said, quite frankly, that we are finding, just like Rich is saying, church groups, sororities. I heard from my client that her sorority, her links group, they were setting up virtual meetings as well. So people are finding ways to communicate. We did this before, right? Um, Before all this happened, we were communicating in these ways, just not as much. Now we're having to communicate in these ways more, and quite frankly, people are liking it. I think I told you all that I was able to set up an appointment for my dad on the telehealth platform where his doctor just calls him. He clicks the link at the time of his appointment. His doctor can see him. He can see his doctor, and give the doctor his symptoms and get some feedback from the doctor. I thought that was awesome. So we moved his regular appointment for a couple of weeks because he wasn't feeling well. Hopefully he'll be feeling better every single day that I talk to him. He's sounding much better. He had a runny nose and he had a bit of a sneeze, or I felt like a cough. I was a little concerned. My nieces did a wonderful job, and my sister checking in on him because I felt like I didn't want to uh, take the chance of leaving the house and possibly infecting him, even though I had my mask. So I've been checking on him through FaceTime, and he seems to be doing better. But also, what people are telling us is that this coronavirus has a lull. So you'll feel a little bit sick, and then you'll feel better, and then it'll hit you. So we still need to pay attention if we've had any kind of symptoms and we're not completely out of the woods. I'm going to tell you in a bit about my symptoms, but I want to read something to you from uh, this week 6 of Courageous Conversations called Celebrate Life on Purpose. This country got shut down on purpose. It will come back. It absolutely will come back. But the purpose of it being shut down was so that we would not continue to spread this virus to everyone else. And a lot of people are listening to Dr. Fauci, Anthony Fauci, who's giving great information. And one of the things he said yesterday is that the timeline is set by the virus. The virus sets the timeline. People don't set the timeline. So we need to really pay attention to that. But while this thing is going on, while this crisis is going on, the goal today is how do we reduce our fears in the midst of a crisis? And how do we still celebrate life on purpose? We have an opportunity. I think we have an opportunity here to celebrate life on purpose. And I want to just read this excerpt for you guys. This is the Courageous Conversation from week 6 called Celebrate Life. Have you ever wondered why we only celebrate our birthdays once a year, when in reality, we wake up with breath in our bodies every day? That's key. If you woke up with breath in your body today, then today is the day from a mindfulness perspective to celebrate life. So yes, there's a couple of birthdays going on. I saw, shout out to my friend Dr. Guy Sims. Today is his birthday. Shout out to Gene Jefferson, who is a very dear friend of Morgan and I's and Morgan's spiritual father. We celebrated his birthday a couple of days ago. Shout out to a couple of my other friends, my clients. I can't say their names due to confidentiality, but they're celebrating their birthdays this week. So there's several different people that are celebrating birthdays. But today's Morgan's cousin Troy's birthday. So shout out to Troy Rowland. His birthday is today. So we celebrate birthdays once a year. We say, happy birthday. Have a wonderful day. Another day that we celebrate around the sun as we move around the sun. However, there's 365 days out of the year. And every day that we wake up, we have life. There are people yesterday. was the um, really sad day in some ways because a lot of people perished. I think they said the number was 200 people that perished. For those people, they have families, they have loved ones, they have friends, they have people that weren't probably able to be there with them when they transition. Yet, here's the silver lining. Here's the silver lining. Today, if you're listening to this, or you're listening to someone else's podcast, or you're talking to your family members, or you're getting your day started, we get to breathe. We get to engage. We get to make meaning out of this day. And so I want to read something else to you right after. Oh, Rashana said, okay, I saw that. I saw it. Rashana said, overwhelmed and praying for strength. I take my walks along the canal near my home while listening to my music. Music helps me often. Awesome, Rashana. Music helps me too. I was listening to music last night, and I was just kind of in my own space and trying to kind of recalibrate, to get myself ready and prepared for the next day. So anything that we can do. We talked about the 4 M's, and I kind of added a fifth one with music because most people love music. So that's the mindfulness, the meditation, the movement. You mentioned that in terms of taking your walks, the meaningful engagement, and the music to really help us to recalibrate. So let me read this to you. What if we made a decision to celebrate our lives every day, 365 days a year? What if we looked at the fact that we woke up as another opportunity to live our best lives? Each day that we regret, each day we get to experience life is a reminder of love, light, truth, and accountability is that ultimately equals hope and freedom. These truths connect with the spirit of goodness. Although it may not always feel like it, the truth is that we get to write our own story if we are courageous enough to access the power that is within us. So, what about you guys? There's power in us. Um, I live stream with my religious service on Fridays. Awesome. There's power. Where's your power? Tell me how you've accessed your power, because we're supposed to be talking about fear. So, and how to reduce it. And fear comes from a lot of anxiety, and anxiety comes from unknown. The things that we worry about are the things that we don't know about, the things that we feel like we don't have control over, the uncertainties of life. That's why we have fears. But my good friend Gene Jefferson reminds me on a regular basis, even if I'm not here to give him a hug or he's not with me, we're giving each other a virtual hug, as well as Velva and anybody else. Give folks a virtual hug. Allow them to feel your energy. Gene reminds Morgan and I on a regular basis that fear and faith can never reside in the same space, right? So if you are fearful, then oftentimes it zaps your energy. And there's a lot of things out there to be fearful. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things to be fearful of, but then we have to sort of start recalibrating. So there's an acronym that I want people to think about with regards to fear. Fear can stand for forget everything and run, right? FEAR, forget everything and run. And think about how we run away from things. Sometimes we stick our heads in the sand and we run. We don't want to deal with our reality. We try to, I guess, act like it's not happening, if you will. Sometimes we distract ourselves with things that are not really helpful for us. So that's fear that's getting the best of us. Or fear could be a warning sign that, hey, we got to pay attention. We got to get ourselves ready. We got to prepare ourselves. So it could stand for face everything and remain. Either forget everything and run, FEAR, or face everything and remain, FEAR. So even what we're doing today, even this conversation that we're having this morning, in the quarantine talks, this is about us facing it, facing our fear, dealing with it, and focusing on what we can do versus what we can't do, right? That's what that serenity prayer is all about. What can you do? Tell me what you're doing out there. What can you do to help yourself to decrease the fear? Rashana's talking about taking walks along the stream, virtual communication with her church community. Rich is, doing okay with, just kind of being, I know Rich is a big workout guy, so I'm curious. He left because he had a meeting, but how he's doing his virtual studies as well and working out. I think Nicole is trying to work out. Uh, my niece Morgan sent me a prayer yesterday that I thought was awesome. And if I can find it, I'll probably read it to you. So there's a lot of things that we can do versus focusing on what we can't do. And I'm interested in what you guys have to say. IG guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Morgan, can you walk over to IG and see if there's anybody? Well, I find this prayer that Morgan sent to me yesterday. I think it was.
Someone says, okay, so wait, hold on, hold on. Okay.
I'm gonna read this prayer while he's looking for that. It says, "Dear God, please, being alone is hard. We are created for community and confinement. But we're grateful that no matter how alone we may feel, you never leave us or forsake us. And we're grateful for technology that helps us to stay in touch with each other. Today, please remind us that this time of social distancing and isolation will not last forever. Give us the strength to endure this difficult season and deepen our connection with you and your people. Empower us with an extra dose of your love, peace, hope, and joy because we need it. Remind us of your promises and please heal our land." I love that prayer because it does remind us that we are stronger together. We do have strength that endures, right? And also this time of social distancing and even social isolation, it's not going to last forever, right? So tell me what y'all think about that and how you've been thinking about it with regards to yourself.
Michelle has a comment. She said, "I'm enjoying the solitude." Michelle says, "I'm enjoying the solitude, the peace, taking time for long walks at the beach near my house. More exercise, planning my new business, virtual Bible study / church." Then she says, "Virtual happy hour with sorors, connecting with family and friends online / social media."
Awesome, awesome. So
Michelle
thank you for Michelle. Thank you for that. So Michelle is taking long walks by the beach. I don't know where Michelle. Where's Michelle at? Where's she?
She didn't say where she
Okay.
where she said.
So I wish we had a beach to take long walks nearby.
Might
But
be in Cali somewhere.
yeah, but that's okay. You know, we can create our own beach-like environment here. I remember last year when I was working on the book, Morgan and my dear friend Lucy, who's our assistant, they created a beach-like environment in the living room.
Michelle said Annapolis, Highland Beach.
Oh, Highland Beach in Annapolis. Okay. I had a Adirondack chair. I had a beach towel, and I had nice little fireplace. It was awesome. So we can be creative with that, depending on what we like. Whether you like to take a walk by the beach, or whether we want to create our new businesses. Be creative. What is it that you have not had time to do that you now have time to do? Learn a new hobby. Write a book. Start your business. Uh, Develop some new creative way to connect with your family and your friends. Nicole says she's been doing facials and taking care of her body with eating healthy food. Well, guess what? And that's awesome, Nicole. Many of us, interesting enough, I don't know about you all, but I don't do a whole lot of fast food. But think about the concept of fast food. Fast food became $1 billion industry because nobody had time to cook anymore. Years ago, people cooked. They even grew their food in their yards, and they had farms, and everything was fresher. The food wasn't as processed. So we are what we eat, and we got so busy that we forgot about ourselves and our families, and we were not doing a very good job, quite frankly, of taking care of our mind, body, and spirit. So now this sitting still and being home is an opportunity to start taking care of our minds, taking care of our bodies, taking care of our temples, eating better, spending time communicating with each other, having courageous conversations, quite frankly, with each other. Debbie's on. Hey, Debbie. The platform is a little stronger this morning, so no one has complained about or suggested that they could not hear me this morning. For a recap, if you're just signing on, we are having our third episode of Courageous Conversations Connect Space, where we're having quarantine talks, and today we're talking about reducing our fears in the midst of a crisis. Uh, we're going to, I want you guys to reach out to me and let me know what you really want to talk about. Rashana says, I have to remind myself with every difficulty, there then comes ease. Yeah, absolutely. But the ease only comes when you grow through the difficulty, right? I heard somebody say that every setback is a setup for a comeback, right? And this virus is a disease, right? So it's creating dis-ease for many of us, DIS-EASE, dis-ease. But as we grow through this, as we begin to develop new norms, as we begin to focus on what matters most, as we sit still long enough to understand that we're stronger together and that we have the power within us to make a difference, not only in our lives, our own lives, but in the lives of other people, then we start easing, this becomes a little bit easier. How many of us out there in a quarantine talks in this space are thinking about this being a little bit easier, right? We started seeing some miracles happen over the last week. 100,000 people on Facebook, on IG last Friday, I think, or Saturday, with D Nice listening to music. We were all there together. There were the celebrities, there were the athletes, there were the politicians, there were the everyday lay people. We were all looking for a way to gather together, and we gathered through music because music is healing. We don't always need 100,000 people to gather together, but that was really nice. But if it's just the one you there, you can think about music. I had a client say that she was thinking about writing a song. She hadn't picked up her guitar or played the piano in a while, and she had decided that she was going to write a song or create a song. This is an opportunity for us to become more creative with one another. And I think that as we begin to be creative, as we begin to believe again in ourselves, as we begin to believe in our own humanity, this is really going to help us to grow through this together. And for those of you who may not have come onto the platform this talk the last couple of days, and if you don't have your plan, as I always say, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. So have your safety care plan. Have your self-care plan. What are you doing do you have a schedule? Do you have your recreational time or your creative time or your work and school time? Do you have your rest time? People need to rest so they can rejuvenate and revitalize so they can come back stronger. How are you engaging with your family? I'm surprised when I'm talking to people that they haven't sat down and had like a little bit of a family meeting, either virtually or in the same house. Quite frankly, your children need this. They need to know that you are going to protect them, that you have a plan of action for them, that you're going to provide for them. They need to feel that safety and that security that allows them to feel more confident with what happened. Yet, listen, guys, none of us likes to be out of control. None of us likes change. That we've become a society that has kind of felt like we can kind of do anything that we want to do. And now we're quarantined and we're confined in a way that is causing some challenges. But guess what? Storms do three things, and we'll talk about this in some of our other talks. I learned this from my pastor, Pastor Waller. Storms are meant to constrict us, confine us, correct us, or helps us to communicate either better, but mostly constrict, confine, and correct. So when that storm comes, it's going to teach us something. And then we're going to have some teachable moments. We're going to have some opportunity to grow through this and get to the other side of the storm. Because guess what? Storms do end. Storms don't last forever. And even if we're in the midst of storm, there's the silver lining. I'm thinking about Pastor Maria Lewis. She had a Bible study years ago, and the Bible study, the title of the Bible study was "Birds Sing After the Storm," or Birds come out and sing after the rainbow or the storm. Why don't we? And I can't remember the exact topic of the exact title, but it kind of got me to thinking about like, well, what happens to us when we're after the storm? Are we singing? Are we feeling better? Are we challenged by what we've learned by the storm? Monique is on. Hey, Monique Maureen, good to see you. Good morning. Um, what do you want to do after the storm, right? I've encouraged people to stay in the moment and come up with your plan of action and how you're going to deal with being in quarantine. But this will end at some point. Will you be stronger? Will your family be stronger? Will you learn some things about yourself? This is really a time for us to learn some things about ourselves, learn some things about our family members, learn some things about what you need to do to grow in the aftermath of all of this. For the IG folks out there, what are you doing to learn to develop the skills that you need in the midst of this storm that we're in? This crisis isn't over. We're right in the thick of it, right in the middle of it. But pay attention to yourself. Like, what do you need to feel more calm? What do you need to decrease your own anxiety? There's a question.
Got? Well, not question, statement. Really.
Statement? Okay.
The real Judy is a dreamer. I don't know what her real name is. That's her IG name.
Okay.
She said, we're doing a daily call and prayer call at church. I guess at church is what she said.
Okay, so Judy is doing the daily call and a prayer call. You all can do these things. We can do this. As I said the last couple of days, we can do this together. There is nothing that we can't do with the power that resides within us to help us to grow through this particular storm that we're in, letting us know that we're stronger together and that we actually need each other.
She said, sorry, Judy said not with the church, but the family.
Oh, with the family.
Sorry,
Join a prayer
Judy.
call with the family.
Family,
Okay.
yeah.
Join a prayer call with the family. I think that never before have we been in a situation, at least not in my lifetime, where we've actually been hit with a message that we all need each other. If we take care of ourselves, it is our act of love to the people that we care about to take care of ourselves. It's really our act of love to actually socially distance. It's our act of love to quarantine ourselves because as we're healthier, then we're able to help other people, the people that we care about the most. So I was watching an interview between Governor Cuomo and his brother Chris Cuomo the other day, and then I saw an article that suggested that they have their quarrels, if you will, and one of the quarrels that they had was over where their mom was going to be, because I think that Chris wanted their mom to be with him in his home, and then Cuomo, he had access, so he called Dr. Anthony Fauci, and Dr. Anthony Fauci said, no, Chris is too connected to other people and could jeopardize his mother's health. So he was being emotional. He admitted it on TV, and he said he was over it, but they made a decision as a family that their mother, who was an older woman, would need to be somewhere else where she would be safe. And I thought about that. I said, how many of us, if we would actually be honest in terms of the courageous conversations, how many of us have had some quarrels or some disagreements or some conflicts with our family over this very thing, what we should be doing? I know that in the very beginning, when Morgan and I sort of came up with some agreements about how we were going to function, it may have looked a little weird for us to be walking around with masks because, quite frankly, they had said initially only have a mask if you are infected or if you're already sick. And we were trying to get ahead of the curve, and we felt like, well, if they're saying only have a mask if you have symptoms, but they're saying a lot of people, here's the mask right here that we have. If they said we ordered this from Amazon Prime, that's where you can get it, but there's probably a delay. But I did hear that they are hiring more and more people to get their products out. So think about it, though. That's what we started thinking about. Well, what if we're asymptomatic and we actually have it and we don't have symptoms, and now we're passing it on to other people? So we got our mask, and as we were moving about, and especially because when my bonus daughter was pregnant at the time, and we knew that she was due for delivery soon, last, now it's 2 weeks or less. The 18th, Jace was born. So we didn't want to take the chance of passing it on to her or him or my father or anybody that we came in contact with. But for a while, I think we were looking a little strange to people, and they were like, "Oh, y'all are just being extra out there." And we were like, "Okay, but we're listening to the experts, and then we're trying to make our own good decisions about how we function in the midst of all this new information." And as I said yesterday, first, the 3 A's: acceptance, then make your adjustments, and then adapt, right? And it's in the adaptation that you come up with the strategies and the techniques and the tactical skills in order to adapt to this new thing that we're going through. So it's important that you keep talking. It's important that you keep communicating. I want you guys to share this, even if you are not. If you were watching this in real time, you can share it with someone else through Facebook or IG. Hey, Charlie. Good morning, Charlie. I didn't get a chance to watch you on your Corona Chronicles last night. I think Charlie was offering information about real estate and the changes in real estate. So I didn't get a chance to see it because I was seeing clients. But if you guys are up at 8 o'clock, for those of you that stay up kind of late or whatever, check out Charlie's Corona Chronicles. I'm on his platform every Tuesday talking about mental health issues, and he's on with other people as well as himself talking about these issues and what's trending. He is absolutely tapped into the news cycle and the trends and what's going on in the world. So it's a good platform to get good information as well.
What do you mean, Charlie? Ask Charlie, what do you mean by all these? It's the best one. What do you mean by that, Charlie?
Charlie said all these, it's the best. I don't know. Charlie, what do you mean by all these is the best one? Morgan's reading the comments on IG because I can't see them, and I'm reading the comments on Facebook. So.
You mean this best quality, you mean?
Oh, okay, the best quality maybe? In terms of the sound? Yeah, okay, yeah, the sound was really, really, really messed up. So, we were talking about just making your adjustments, right? And that some people are doing a really, really great job. I think we have to be honest with ourselves. Are we doing the best that we can given the circumstances? And
HU crews have a conversation amongst themselves on IG.
Okay. Hey, HU, listen, we got a strong crew. So it's find your crew. Find your crew. People need people, right? We all need each other. And I was saying that we need each other more than ever before. We need each other to be healthy. We need each other to give information. We need each other as a resource. We need each other. We need each other to make good decisions, right? So that anyone doesn't infect everyone. And if we do have it, we need to make good choices about how to care for ourselves and our bodies. And during this particular reflection time, it's a great time to figure out how it is that you're going to function, right? Morgan introduced me to this concept, and we'll talk a little bit more about it in the next talks. But high risk, mid risk, low risk, right? High importance, middle importance, mid importance, low importance. So high value, mid value, and low value. Somebody else used it that I was looking at the other day. I think it was one of those channels, and they were talking about the risk, right? So ask yourself, whether it be value or risk, is it a high risk or value? Is it a low mid risk or value? Is it a low risk or value, right? So if, a lot of this is spreading because people had to come home from school and then they started hanging out with their family members. And I thought that was very interesting because people are asking very hard questions. Like, if your family members come home from school and they're now in your house, do you still have to keep a 6-foot distance in your own home? Because what I saw was college kids coming home and they were absolutely excited to see each other and they were all hanging out on the couch together. But they came from an environment where they could have been infecting each other. I also saw this morning where somebody was asking Dr. Sanjay Gupta whether or not they could kiss their spouse. Could they make out with their spouse? So I think we're going to talk about that on Friday. If what's your take on that? How can do you stay connected to your spouse? Well, think about it. If your spouse had a cold and they were actually infectious, they could pass just the common cold. Would you guys be making out? If they had the flu, would you guys be making out? Probably
I
not.
love you, babe, but
Pro-
I ain't kissing no flu now.
Probably
I
not,
ain't kissing no
right?
flu now.
However, this is a little bit difficult to take into consideration because if you don't have any symptoms and you could be contagious, then do you make out with your partner, if you will? I think we're going to talk about that probably on Friday. We might even come on a date on our date night and share some stuff with you guys. I think we're probably going to do that tomorrow night. Since we used to, you guys know, my husband is a foodie, and I've become a little bit of a foodie, and we're sort of restaurateurs. We love going to restaurants and eating good food and having a glass of wine and listening to good music. We love doing that, and we can't do it now. So we're going to have to be creative too about our date night. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. And by the way, for those of you like Charlie, who is living alone, but not lonely, because he's tapped into lots of people who care about him and love him. And there are other people like Rich and some friends of ours that are living alone. We may be talking about what things you all can do. I think he had on his Corona Chronicles how to make a cocktail on last Friday. So there are also creative ways that people who are living alone can connect and tap into each other. And don't forget, guys, please, please, please do not forget to reach out to your seniors. This is different for them. Whether they're living alone or living with someone else, it's different for them because they may be accustomed to people coming over and they can't come over as much as they did before. So if you can teach them how to FaceTime, that would be awesome. If you can call them on the phone and just have a conversation. I called my Aunt Dot on the phone the other day. We had prayer. She is a prayer warrior, guys. So she's used to praying for other people. And I was like, Aunt Dot, is it okay for me to pray for you, to pray your strength? Because April 7th, I believe she will be 90 years young. So she's been on this earth for a long time. She's seen a lot of things. And God bless her. She's been a huge portion of strength in my life. Of those other people, like Rashana's, that's taking care of her mother, her sick mother, and her 100-year-old grandmother. Charlie, whose sister Teen is taking care of his mother. We've got some seniors out there. Reach out to your seniors. Try to give them some hope and some love and some affirmation. Read a Bible scripture or a scripture if you are of a different faith from the Quran or anything from like some positive affirmation. Just to give them some hope, some love, and some encouragement. We all need to do that for each other. Well, listen, it's been an hour. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I've got to pivot to actually do work, but if please, please, please share this post with others, pass it on, go onto my YouTube page, Ask Dr. Argie, and let other people know. There's some old segments on there that might be helpful when I'm on the Today Show, on the Good Day. I actually will be on Good Day Philly tomorrow, I think at 8:45 a.m. So I'll be on at 10 for the quarantine talks on this platform, Courageous Conversations Connect Space. But at 8:45, I'll also be on Good Day. I'm going to be helping people to talk about how they deal with loneliness and depression and anxiety as well on that particular platform. So tune in if you can. That's on 29 on this platform, not this platform, in Philadelphia. And perhaps we will just continue to lift each other up and be connected in this way. We'll see how long this lasts. And as long as it lasts, I'm going to be here encouraging each other, encouraging you, and encouraging anyone that's on this platform. And I pray for your prayers to encourage me as well. So anyway, I thank you for listening, guys. I thank you for engaging. Reach out and let me know if you have specific things that you want me to talk about. Have a beautiful day on purpose from my heart to yours. Love you guys. Bye-bye.